Right. And last but certainly not least,
My name is Lyric, or Lily.
Lily.
I am a manager for Braxton Keith LLC, so that is my fiance and I's business. We perform and serve our community through lock services. So we start, maintain, we style, we educate our clients pretty much on their locks and making sure that they're healthy and nice.
Awesome, awesome. All right, all right, all right. So we have a house full of entrepreneurs. All right, it's beautiful. And myself. Throw myself in there? All right, aside from I manifest. All right, all right. So as everybody knows, I am the host, but I am also a guest. All right, so I'm originally from New York City myself. Okay, born and raised. Brooklyn and Bronx, and then moved to LA at about the age of 18, pursuing a career as an actor. And then um, I started writing myself. So I created a production company called Mosaic Entertainment Group, and there's a reason why I named it that. And I recently started Black Phoenicians Writers Group, where we're a collective of writers who just get together and we just produce and write our own content. And Mosaic is a little more involved. We're in production right now, so so there's a lot going on out here. So that's my thing as well. So now you know as well, Phoenix. All right. So I Manifest Radio. Welcome everybody. So you know what I want to know from everyone, and we'll start from Lily down at the end. What prompted you to and your husband to decide that you want to step away from the 9 to 5, the corporate world, if that was your world, and decide to, do your thing? And that's the same question from everyone across the board. What drove you to do it? Give me some deep stuff. Don't sugarcoat it. I know there's some days of crying and there's some days of pain, as well as the days of pleasure. So, what was it that prompted you and your husband to go that route?
Just tired of being in corporate America, just being black and being in corporate America. They don't treat you how you want to be treated. Just wanting to be our own bosses. We're trying to build our own empire, and just with that being by his side through all this journey, through our log journey together, and it's just a lot of stuff for us. I'm young and I just didn't want to work for anybody. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be for myself, be for my family, him as well, just wanting to not have like an obligation somewhere. Being able to make his own hours,
Freedom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
freedom.
freedom.
Like being able to do everything, travel,
Mm-hmm.
have fun, enjoy life, and not have any stipulations.
Beautiful. So let me ask you: Are you part of and him? Are you guys part of the millennial generation?
Um,
You said you're young, so I'm just
yeah, I would consider it just a little bit, but he's a
okay.
little bit more older than me, so
Yes. Okay. Okay.
he's a little bit
Because you
older.
said young, so I was wondering because there's a spirit on the millennial generation right now where you guys, from my observation now, and I'm from the hip hop generation. I'm from that time. So yeah, and it's a legitimate thing. Um, you guys speak the way you speak because of the hip hop generation, and you have the freedoms and the way you move yourselves in this generation is because of the hip hop generation, and the hip hop generation was able to move because of the previous generation. So we are your generation. Okay, I'm glad you said it because I wasn't gonna go there, sister.
I know you
But
wanted to, so
you
I
know,
opened
no,
the door for you,
no,
okay? So
I,
you would
I,
be on
I
guard.
understand grace and I understand discretion. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't gonna go there, but I'm glad you did. All right, so yeah, that's where we are. And that's what we do. Each generation passes on to the next, and you're able to take what we did and take it to the next level. So that's why I asked. So before we go into the Miss Cynthia, I wanted to ask. You said something about your lock journey. Can you explain that a little bit to me? Because I know a few locticians,
Yes.
but I know it's more than just locking hair.
It's
It's
more
something else.
to it.
So can you break that down for us?
Yes, so pretty much your log journey is I when I first started my locks, I just didn't start them. Some of our clients they just think, oh, it's the new trend or whatever. I'm just gonna start them. It's gonna look cool. I want to look like Kodak Black. I want to look like Future. But for us, it was more of a journey. This is our lifestyle. For me, I pretty much did some research on it first, on what I wanted my lock journey to be like. If I wanted bigger locks, do I want smaller locks? Do I want sister locks? Do I want big old Bob Marley locks? Like, it's like a whole process of that, and just more making sure that you're educated on that as far as what type of locks where you want. Do you want free forming locks? Do you want a manicure lock where you could actually see your parts? Do you don't care about your parts? So it's wanting to know as far as for yourself what your hair, like, how do you want it to be? How do you want to represent yourself through your hair? So for me, I'm more of a natural person. I really did more of like a free form, but they're still not like, oh, they're not huge, they're not disgusting. I could still style them, I could still look cute with them. And it's just how my journey was just, I just didn't want to do my hair.
Right.
I'm more like a natural person. I like let myself, like before I started my locks, I had curly hair. So I just started them and it was easier for me to manage. So something like that too takes up a lot of time. Like, do I want to keep on braiding my hair? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? But for me, it was, my journey was like starting a new life for me through my hair.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's
I have a
heavy.
question
Yes, ma'am.
concerning that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know a lot about locks. My couple of my daughters have locks, you know, and they're always, you know, into the lock journey. You know, I don't know anything about them. So, what I was curious about, I noticed how you were saying that there were different types of locks. There's the sister locks, there's this locks, there's that locks.
Right.
So, is there a particular, what would you say, like kind of like a lifestyle that goes with different locks? Like, say if I'm into being a vegetarian and this and that, would I be good with the sister locks? Does it have anything to do with your personality?
Good question.
That's what
Good
I'm
question.
asking.
Yeah.
Does it represent a certain
That's a
thing?
great
Like, I'm a
question. Yeah.
spiritual person, so I'm doing
So
these type of
this
locks.
type of like, yeah,
Or
that
I'm
was
a
a question I
teacher,
was
I'm
gonna have
doing
for you.
these
Good
type of
question.
locks. That's
Yeah,
what I want
I
to
got
know.
you. That's a good question.
Yeah, so it just depends on your lifestyle, like what type of look you're going for, how you want to represent yourself each day. Like some women, they like the sister locks because it's very versatile. You want to be able to still have the locks, but still be able to style it differently. Because with certain locks, you can't do a lot of styles.
Right, you have to
So,
keep them that
yeah.
way. Once you make the decision, you're committed.
Right. So
Right.
for more sister locks, they're very more versatile. So you could style them any type of way, like as if you were styling your natural curly hair. So it just pretty much depends on you how you want your locks. So yes, that is the correct way to say it. Is it just depends on you. If you wanted to have them bigger, smaller, that's pretty much up to you and how you want to represent yourself each and every day.
Okay, so it's more of a, it's not so much of a internal journey as it is
Right.
more of a cosmetic kind of journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the outside.
It's more of a look. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got it. So
I have another question.
Sure.
Can I ask one more
yeah,
question?
you can. Absolutely.
Okay.
You can do what you
So
want.
I'm always interested in people like going into business and their choices of business, you know. So do you see this as a this is my single business and this business right here is going to be profitable for enough for me to make it to the level that or to the lifestyle that I want to live? Or do you feel like that this is going to be part of the journey that you use as
Yes.
an entrepreneur
Yes.
to get to where you're going?
Yes. So it's
Okay.
not our main, because I'm also going to school for an esthetician. So I want
So this is a process.
skincare.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Right, so you're adding some
You're adding
things to the
stuff to it.
table.
Yep.
And
Okay.
that's
A great question. So it's good that you can see that. Yeah, that's good. Good question. Well, you want to get your hair off your lip, lady?
Oh, do I have hair on my lip? Okay.
You got it. You got it. It's off
Check
now.
myself right
It's
quick.
off now. You good?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. Because we
gonna
gotta
miss
know
out, so
now.
okay.
All right, now you looking good now. You looking good
Looking
now.
good? Okay.
All right. So now, what is your reasoning? Why did you decide to go into business? What prompted you? What was your motivation?
Well, my husband and I are both writers. Okay, so we originally when we got married, our dream was we met in a book group. We actually met online in a book group. We were both authors, and we met in a book group, and we communicated, did a lot of business, but never had actually met face to face. So I actually met my husband at the airport when he came to Arizona to visit me on a book thing.
Oh, okay.
And we got married 30 days later.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Wow.
So we both had the same dreams. You know, we wanted a bookstore, you know. So at first we had this unrealistic dream that we wanted this bookstore where others could bring their books and everything. But then we had to look at the money side. With the digital age being intact, you know what I'm saying? That having a bookstore, being able to rely on that is totally unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? So then we decided that we wanted to do the clothing thing, you know. So we wanted a clothing store. So we decided we'd have a clothing store and then add the books. So originally Nickel City Baby was Nickel City Clothes and Books. Okay, so but we just kind of the slang started, you know, Nickel City Baby, you know, we're that team, you know. So we went through, this is the store that we have now. I've been there almost 4 years at this location. I was actually on Indian school for about a year. We had a store on McDowell for about 8 months. We had a store in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, in Lawrenceville for a few months. So it's definitely hasn't been just a successful journey.
Right.
It's been a lot of failures, you know, and I wouldn't say failures, just learning curves, you know. A lot of people don't understand that it's a totally different mindset to run a store, to have a store. You know, it's a large investment, you know what I mean? And sometimes that investment doesn't work. Right where we're at right now, we also had a men's store a couple of doors down. We dumped like all our money into this men's store, you know, a couple of doors down from Nickel City, and it was a flop. Men don't spend the same money women do. They find their place that they're going and they stay there. You shake your head like, no, I ain't doing that. You know, so we ended up, you know, just dissolving, you know, it's just a failure. We were like, okay, you know, that's just what we're doing. We then had a plus size clothing store, a couple of doors from Nickel City Baby. And then we realized this is totally stupid. We're like having 2 businesses, paying 2 rents, doing 2 utilities, 2 this, 2 that, in the same parking lot. So this is totally insane. We're getting ahead of ourselves here, okay? Let's just move the plus size clothing over here, you know. So a lot of people don't know, but we started our journey as well with our store with a girl named Dari. So Dari had an incredible story. She was from my hometown, which is Detroit. I'm from the D. And so she had came out here with her daughter in her car behind a situation, and she was really good with doing hair. So when I started my store, she actually had a beauty shop in the back of my store. And so we had an agreement, which was amazing, and I always give props to her because she was a very good young businesswoman. We made an agreement and we stuck to it. We were like, look, we're gonna do this together for a year. You go your way, I go my way, so we can be successful. We're not going to be able to team up in this business. What we're teaming up on is rent right now.
Right.
Okay, and we had some strict rules about our rent. It's always here at this time, always at noon on the 1st. Nobody ever misses. And we stuck to that for 1 year. And 1 year to the day, she moved into her own shop.
Wow.
You know, she just moved into an even bigger shop and has expanded. So she's became very successful out here. She now has one in Detroit as well. So our journey actually paid off, you know what I mean? Unlike a lot of people that, I'm not just a business owner, I also run a company. I run one of the largest companies that are in the CBD world. So I do that because I'm a realistic as well, you know, which is why I asked you that question. So I'm not opposed to corporate America, so I kind of have both sides of it. I have the side where I'm working for someone, and I have the side where I own something. You know what I mean? Because my dream is a lot bigger. You know what I mean? I want to help even more women. I want to do even more. I want a chain of stores. Right now I just signed for another store. So I'm doing a lot of things, you know what I mean? And it requires a lot of capital.
Yes, indeed. So you gotta speak to a lot of people.
America, I love it. You know what I'm saying?
No, they'll give it up.
I do love corporate America. You know, I'm really good at what I do in corporate America. You know what I mean? So I represent a company, and so I'm good at representing the company because I understand how you want your company represented. Because I have a business.
Because you have one, right?
So we're able to communicate on certain levels. You know what I mean?
It makes sense. They want people who have the entrepreneurial mindset as an employee. So that way you'll operate in that manner. That's what corporate has taught me. You know what I'm saying? Is think that way. I mean, not only does it kind of safeguard your job, but you know what I'm saying, it gives you an understanding that, and it's an understanding I honestly feel you can only get if you take that journey it's impossible to tell someone who's never even taken even had a thought of running in their own business, have an entrepreneurial mind state, as an employee. That's impossible. So
it's impossible.
People fall by the wayside, and I think that's a downside, what I'm saying,
Right.
of corporate America, in my opinion. And we were speaking on corporate America, family. Let me talk to the family real quick. We were speaking on corporate America a little earlier before we went live. And that's why she's saying she loves corporate America. It's not like she is in love, but she,
Right.
there's a reason why, because she's a business owner and she understands. So, all right, Miss Dejanay,
Okay.
what was your reasoning?
I'm just like you. I do on corporate America and things like that, but
Right.
I know it's a temporary status because I would rather work for myself. I do have huge dreams and I have huge dreams for the people around me. The reason why I stepped out of my bubble is because I'm a mentor. So I do a lot of mentoring when it comes to teenagers, young adults, and stuff like that. And I see what they want to do. I see the potential that they have. I see the skill set that they have. But the industry that they're going into is going to rip them apart. This entertainment industry, this music industry, the stuff that you have to do to become relevant, to me, is too much. Like, I'm not from that generation.
Right.
My granny's my best friend. She's from Arkansas, we're from the South. We carry ourselves different.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
to see, like, a teenage girl that I mentored, half naked everywhere just to get a like, I don't like that. Because to
Right.
me, that's not
Right.
art. That's not why you put that picture out there. And that's why thirst trapping.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That was trying. That was
Thirst trapping. Yeah, absolutely.
If you're doing it because, okay, I'm trying to sell this lingerie, I'm trying to sell this bikini, I'm trying to sell that makes sense. That's marketing. But if you're doing it just to get some person's attention, but you're not getting no kind of gain out of it besides a like, that's a problem.
Right.
If
That's
you're
an issue.
telling me the only way I'm going to be successful is I have to sleep with this person or I have to fight this person because we're on the bad girls club or whatever, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
It's like, where is your character? Where is your morals? Not doubting anybody who does that, because I'm pretty sure it was just some script you went with. But it's just like, that's the perception that we have online. That's the perception we have in music. And I feel like people are downing natural talent because they're auto-tuning everything, they're fine-tuning everything. And to me, it's like, it's hard for entrepreneurs to actually be creative because the status trend is completely fake.
Well, there's a science behind that, and that's
so
for
it's like,
another
to me,
conversation.
I stepped out to show people you can be yourself and you can be successful.
Absolutely.
You don't have to down your morality, you don't have to down your character, you don't have to dehumanize yourself to fit in. God made us unique for a reason, so stay that way.
Absolutely. Y'all heard that. Miss Ellie.
Okay, so my journey professionally kind of goes with like my personal journey in life. I feel that I've been placed in different situations to acquire knowledge and different skill sets to apply to my own entrepreneurial endeavors because essentially that's what I'm created and was born to be. And for the longest time I was running away from that, feeling like, well, I want to help people and I just want to pour into their brand and build their brand. Like even immediately after I graduated